Okay, the live stream is up and we can begin.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Multnomah County's third and final public budget hearing on our fiscal year 27 budget. I'm Jessica Vega Peterson, your Multnomah County Chair. I use she, her pronouns. I want to thank you all this evening for joining us to share your thoughts and priorities. Today's meeting is a virtual board meeting. So for those of you who are joining us to provide some testimony, please mute your mic when not speaking. And then when you're ready to present, make sure to unmute your mic and turn on your camera so we can see you. For all presenters, please state your name for the record before speaking. And I ask you to consider your language in comments and testimony today. We have many of you signed up to provide feedback, so I just want to make sure it's not a surprise if this hearing ends up going long tonight. We appreciate everyone's time and commitment to this process. Before we start, I want to let everyone know that interpretations of this hearing are available in American Sign Language, Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, and Somali. Interpreters, I am just going to introduce you quickly since we're in a virtual session. We don't need to announce everything to the crowd, but I would love you to come on camera and raise your hand for the screen so that we can see you when I speak your name. So for Spanish, we have Victor and Rosie. Okay.
Hello,
For Vietnamese, we have Dennis.
Hello, Vietnamese interpreter.
Thank you for being here, Dennis.
And hi, this is Rosie, Spanish interpreter. A pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosie. Thank you for being here with us tonight. We have, for Somali, we have Zachariah, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Okay. For Russian, we have Lena and Maria.
Maria's here.
Thank you both for being here with us tonight. And for American Sign Language, we have Hilda and Hai. Thank you both for providing interpretation. Thank you all for providing interpretation for us tonight. So as always, especially because we're all virtual tonight, please bear with us through any technical difficulties that may arise during the meeting. Tonight's budget hearing is one way that Multnomah County collects community feedback on our budget before it will be adopted on Thursday, June 4th at the 1 p.m. regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. I'd like to remind people that written testimony on the county's budget can also be submitted online throughout our budget process. You can find that form at the webpage multco.us/budget-feedback. That's multco.us/budget-feedback. That form is available in Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, Somali, Simplified Chinese, and Chuukese on the website. And you can also simply email your comments to our board clerk at the email address boardclerk@multco.us. Hearing from all of you about this year's proposed budget priorities and how they represent Multnomah County's values is an essential part of our budgeting process. Your feedback will inform our decision-making as we continue working towards an adopted county budget in June that is truly representative of the communities we partner with and serve. I think most of you know that this is really a tough budget year for Multnomah County. And despite that, the job of this board is to make the best use of the dollars that we do have to serve our community's essential needs and ensure resources are going to the people who rely on them the most and whose needs we must prioritize during challenging times. Multnomah County's budget and priorities are not built in a silo. They're built alongside many partners in the community itself. Our county is built as much by community members who call Multnomah County home as for them. Joining me tonight are my fellow county commissioners. So before we get started, I'd like to invite each commissioner to introduce themselves and the district they represent. And I will start with Commissioner Moyer.
Hi, my name is Megan Moyer.
I use she, her pronouns, and I represent District 1, which is everything west of the Willamette River and inner southeast Portland.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do we have Commissioner Singleton?
Hello, all. Shannon Singleton. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm the commissioner for District 2, which is north and northeast Portland, including the city of Maywood Park.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Brim Edwards.
Good evening, everyone. Julia Brim Edwards, County Commissioner from District 3, which is a big chunk of southeast Portland, a little bit of northeast, and it goes the Clackamas County line to 84, about 146 to 32nd. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight.
Thank you. And we have Commissioner Jones Dixon. Okay, I don't hear him yet, so I know he'll be tuning in. So thank you, everyone. I also want to remind members of the public that at these budget hearings, commissioners listen, but we do not respond to testimony. And this is a little bit more this is a little more applicable when we're in a board meeting, but we also don't clap or respond. We go like this to share a response. So if you're online, you're welcome to do that. Now I'm going to turn it over to our board clerk, Tasia Nelson, who's going to provide a brief overview of the written testimony that was submitted prior to this hearing, and also to talk through the logistics of the meeting before she begins calling for testimony. I'll turn it over to you, Tasia.
Thank you, Chair. Today we have 70 people signed up to testify. As of 5:30 p.m., we have received 77 written testimony forms, all of which have been shared with board members and their staff. Interpreters are available in American Sign Language, Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, and Somali. If you would like to have your testimony interpreted into English, please let us know when it's your turn to testify, and an interpreter will assist. If you are using the WebEx platform and want to view closed captioning, click the CC bubble on the bottom left portion of your screen. I will call 4 people at a time and give them panelist access. I will also announce the next 4 speakers so they are prepared to speak. Please keep your microphone muted until it is your time to speak. After you're done testifying, I will revert you back to an attendee. Public testimony is limited to 2 minutes per person. I will set a timer when you begin speaking and will announce when your time is up, at which point please wrap up your sentence. Written testimony on the county budget can be submitted beyond this public hearing by going to multco.us/budget-feedback or by emailing me at boardclerk@multco.us. Our first 4 testifiers tonight will be Brandon Brown, Becca Gundel, Cheryl Bynum, and Sam Kambula. And then the 4 after them will be Ariel Van Forsen, Claudia Carrillo, Amy Gonzalez, and Michelle Yun. Brandon, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brandon Brown. I am here representing Restorative Roots Project. We are a holistic restorative justice organization. I'm also here representing Brown Hope and Lutheran Community Services. We are here asking for an amended part into the budget to put a place in there for restorative justice. Restorative justice is a cost-effective, evidence-informed public safety strategy that centers survivors, increases meaningful accountability, prevents future harm, and strengthens communities. It complements, not replaces, the traditional system by providing an option that many survivors say better meets their needs. Why the legislation should support this investment: it expands access statewide, provides trained facilitators, supports survivors before, during, and after participation. We partner with courts, schools, and community organizations, and we help ensure equitable access across communities. This investment supports public safety, fiscal responsibility, survivor well-being, community resilience, and reduced system burden. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Rebecca Gundel. Rebecca?
Hello. Hi, good evening. My name is Rebecca Gundel, and I'm a parent at Vestal Elementary School, which is in the current budget slated to have its SUN program cut next year. I am urging all county commissioners to preserve our SUN program as it is a vital component to our school community, providing after-school enrichment activities at our Title I school, as well as a fresh food pantry and other free meals for families in need. This year, 239 Vestal students have participated in at least one SUN activity, and over 70 families rely on food from the fresh food pantry each week. This is a very well utilized SUN site where the SUN showcases at the end of each term, pack the auditorium, and kids don't always get their first choice of class because there is a great demand. My first and second grade children, one of which is standing here with me, enjoy their SUN classes so much and thoughtfully pick which one to take each session. My oldest has been waiting 3 years since kindergarten to sign up for the popular mountain biking skills class, only available for third graders and up. And if SUN is closed this fall, he will never get that opportunity along with other kids his age and behind him. My youngest kid, who is on the shyer side, has made friends through SUN when he couldn't connect with other kids in the classroom. Through his current drumming class or STEM exploration class in the past, he was able to make friends and try activities he doesn't get offered during the regular school day. SUN also fills a gap for extracurricular activities for our community, as fee-based activities are generally not an option for many families at our school. My other son joined the local rec soccer team. He's the only kid on the team from our school. And so just showing how kids are not participating in fee-based activities and really do rely on our SUN programming. So lastly, cutting SUN would be a devastating loss to our school community, one that is capturing more students each year and one of the few PPS schools that is actually growing enrollment. I urge you to keep SUN at Vestal and find the money to cut elsewhere. This program does so much good for the school and for a very small budget line item. Thank you.
Cheryl,
Thank
you
you.
can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, Multnomah County Chair and Commissioners. My name is Cheryl Bynum, and I'm a parent of a 16-year-old youth who has really struggled in life. The Rural program is part of LifeWorks Northwest, and eliminating its funding would create a drastic hole in a need that Portland so needs. Mr. Tesfaye and his program, Real, meets their clients where they are and not what they are. Whenever he has never treated him for what he is, but who he is. And has never treated him as a case member or just somebody to push through the system. Several other organizations, whether it be county, state, or city, have kind of let my child just slide through, but the Real program has really helped him advocate for himself, support his needs, help me advocate for my son, and really gone above and beyond to make sure he is seen as a person and not as any of his afflictions. When my son felt that his world was crumbling around him, the one thing that he always looked forward to was the Real program and was always showing up for his appointments and his meetings. He's been working with the Real program for a couple of years, and that's the one program he always felt never let him down. The results of the program are evident. It's a program that has not just shaped his world, but expanded his world. Sorry. Eliminating the funding for this program would not just remove
Fine.
services. Is my time up? I'm sorry.
Yes, your time's up, but you can finish your sentence.
Okay. I just was going to say eliminating funding for this program would not just remove a service, it would take away a lifeline for not only my son, but all young people and family who truly need it.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sam and Kendra. You can unmute yourself and begin.
Okay. Hi. Good evening, Multnomah County Chair and Commissioners. My name is Sam. I am from Youthline, which is a peer-to-peer crisis and support line. And over the last year, we have supported 25,000 folks around the country and more than 2,600 volunteers in the world, in Multnomah County. So funding is very important to us and our work. And I would like for you to hear more about what we do in our work. So I'll pass it to Kendra, who's one of our youth volunteers, and she'll also talk about the importance of our program.
Hi, my name is Kendra, and I've been a volunteer at Youthline for 3 years and a lead volunteer for about 1.5 years. And when I first signed up to volunteer at Youthline, I was terrified about being on the phone with someone who I thought would expect me to have all the answers and be confident and know the exact perfect thing to say. But over the past 3 years, I've realized that no teen I talked to ever expected that from me or wanted that. And that's what makes Youthline so special and such an imperative resource for Oregon youth. Youthline is unique because it provides a way for teens to connect with other teens who understand what it's like to be a teenager in today's society and allows us to connect without the social stigma that makes it difficult for teens to connect in places like school. Youthline provides connections for Oregon youth who feel alone and like no one understands them, which is a lot of youth in Oregon. And I've lost count of the number of times I've talked to contacts to explain that they're incredibly great for us being there, not because we know how to solve their problems, but just because we are someone safe to talk to who won't judge them and cares enough to listen. And this sense of connection goes both ways. As a volunteer, I feel more connected with my community because I'm able to interact with my peers in a way most social standards wouldn't allow in terms of vulnerability. And I've able to become more confident in social settings where I'm talking to people that I haven't met. I never would have been able to speak at this meeting without Youthline because I wouldn't have had the confidence to do that. I've also discovered my passion for mental health, which inspired me to major in neuroscience in college next fall. Funding programs like Youthline provides an opportunity for all Oregon youth to feel cared about as a contact and to gain community as a volunteer. I ask you to continue to fund Youthline as a resource because it benefits all Oregon youth, not just those who are struggling.
Thank you.
Our next group is going to be Ariel Van Fossen, Claudia Carrillo, who will need Spanish interpretation, Amy Gonzalez, and Michelle Yun. Ariel, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Hi, I have been an employee at Stone Soup PDX for 3.5 years. We are a culinary-based workforce program, and I'm advocating for the continued funding of employment programs like Stone Soup. I want to tell you about someone I'll call Hannah, an individual I trained in our program. Hannah came into our program while living in a shelter. She's a mom, a cooking enthusiast, and one of the sweetest people I know. Hannah had virtually no support outside of Stone Soup, and she was in a perpetual state of stress. She would use the analogy of treading water. She was able to keep her head above water, but she was expending too much energy to swim to shore, and one can only tread water for so long. In our program, Hannah was connected to resources and essentials. She was provided culinary training and employment support, and she had a support system that uplifted and empowered her. Hannah said that it felt like she had been thrown a life preserver, and because of the extent of the support she received, she felt re-energized to make the swim to shore. Hannah graduated the program and got a job as a prep cook. Recently, she came back to Stone Soup because she had received a key to her new apartment and she wanted to share the joy with those who had held her in community. This funding is giving people the opportunity to improve their circumstances. Hannah's growth is not unique to our program. I could have chosen almost any program participant to highlight today because each one of them has shown how life-changing these programs can be. People deserve to change their life for the better, and it is our responsibility to facilitate that for the sake of our community. Continued funding of these programs is life-changing, and it is also life-saving. Thank you.
Claudia Carrillo is up next. I believe Victor, our Spanish interpreter. is going to help her with interpretation? Or Rosie? Are either of you ready?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, the Victory Spanish interpreter is ready.
Okay. Where'd she go? Claudia, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Claudia, es su turno, así que si puede encender su micrófono.
I sent an unmute request, but I'm not seeing her camera.
Why don't we go on to the next one and we'll see. And if she comes back on, you can let us know, Tasia, so we could go back to her.
Okay. Next up we have Amy Gonzalez. Amy, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, County Commissioners. My name is Amy Gonzalez. I have worked for Multnomah Education Service District for 22 years. My current position is a climate coach. And during a big portion of that time, I've worked with TestFi and LifeWorks and other programs that LifeWorks has provided to provide culturally competent counseling, and specifically for drug and alcohol and other family issues for our students. It's been a huge part of community and reducing recidivism with our Black and Brown students. And that's a population that needs have been unmet in many different places. About 60% of our population are students that have been unable to find success in the mainstream Portland public high schools. So having a small place with community and finding and meeting those students where they're at has been a huge, huge benefit. I can't put into words how important people like TestFi and LifeWorks are in helping to cultivate community and find productive places in the society for those students who have been unable to connect before. I think that it's critical that those programs be supported financially, and I hope that you take into consideration the detriment that it would have to our community as a whole if we're not able to keep those programs going. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. I'm also a parent of 5 students who've been through Multnomah County Schools. And again, this is a critical time for our students with the cuts everywhere. It's important for us to keep some of those small things going that seem small, but can be absolutely life-changing for a multitude of our students. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Next, we have Michael Yun. Michael, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Peterson and Board of Commissioners. My name is Michael Yan. I'm a landscape architect working on the design for the Chinese Memorial at Lone Fir. I'm a board member of the Chinese American Citizens Alliance and a Chinese American citizen of Multnomah County. I want to start by saying thank you for the hard work you do. This isn't an easy job, and I appreciate the consequential decisions that are being made. When I learned about the history of the Chinese cemetery at Lone Fir, including the details of the past Multnomah County Board's actions, I was shocked and saddened. I couldn't believe the county had desecrated hundreds of Chinese graves, demolished a traditional altar, bone house, and cultural artifacts for the pedestrian purpose of constructing a maintenance building. Painfully, the racist language in the county records clarified how racism is operationalized in government systems. It was educational and eye-opening and initiated our ongoing collaborative process seeking healing, repair, and justice. While we have already arrived at some meaningful outcomes, now is the time to ensure that those steps don't feel hollow to the community. I thank Commissioner Brim-Edwards and Commissioner Moyer for co-sponsoring an amendment which honors the county's commitment to supporting the construction of the memorial. I strongly urge the balance of the board to support the amendment as it stands. This would meet the community's request and demonstrate that repairing one of the most painful public racist acts against Multnomah County's Chinese American population is a priority for this board. The offset funding is smartly sourced. While the Vector Control Lab is a worthy project, it has not yet begun design and should take years to spend down the funding allocated. completed. We started design on the memorial 6 years ago, and construction will be completed within 8 months. There will be no future opportunities to follow through on this commitment. I ask you sincerely to act on this opportunity to facilitate genuine repair and meaningfully support this project. Thank you so much. I appreciate your work.
Our next group will be Dominique Doherty, Andy Miller, Aaron Sowell, Amber Koski, and then after them will be Jennifer Zavon, Dan Hoover, Jonathan Polanski, and Michelle Milla. Dominique, oh, I don't see Dominique anymore. Let me double check the list.
Can you hear me? I'm on the phone. Oh, hello.
Oh, there you go. Okay, Dominique, you're up. You're up. Thank you.
Okay, great. Hi. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Dominique Doherty, and I am a licensed clinical social worker and member of the family support team at CARES Northwest, the Children's Advocacy Center, serving children and families in Multnomah and Washington County who have been impacted by child abuse. I am here to urge you to preserve the culturally responsive mental health consultant positions at CARES Northwest in the fiscal year 2027 budget. When a child experiences abuse, the impact extends far beyond the child. It affects the entire family. The mental health consultants through Multnomah County on the family support team provide critical support to caregivers through crisis intervention, education, and ongoing connection to resources. They help families navigate some of the most overwhelming and difficult moments of their lives and begin the process of healing. If these positions are cut, our family support team will lose valuable members not only on our team, but the entire evaluation team at CARES Northwest. In 2025, just at our Portland location, our Multnomah County mental health consultants served 366 children and families. That was a little over 1/3 of the children seen for evaluations at our Portland location. If they are cut, the remaining family support team staff, like myself, will take on significantly higher caseloads, which will directly impact the level of quality care we can provide. Families will receive less time, less follow-up, and less individualized support during a time when they need it the most. These services are not one-time interventions. They are ongoing and essential, to a family's stability and recovery after trauma. I also want to emphasize that all the positions being cut on my team are culturally responsive roles. Losing these extremely valuable positions will create even greater barriers for communities who are already facing challenges accessing mental health care and other supportive services. I respectfully ask that you prioritize funding for these positions so that we can continue providing critical support to children and families in Multnomah County. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Andy Miller, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Andy Miller. I serve as the Executive Director of Our Just Future. I want to begin by acknowledging the moment. We understand the challenge of responding to rising community needs in a climate of shrinking resources. We support your efforts to rebalance our homeless response system toward increasing housing resources. We agree shortening shelter stays and ensuring every shelter program has access to housing placement resources is the right direction. People need pathways back into permanent housing. That's why we're deeply pained by the proposed closure of our Chestnut Tree Women's Shelter. By the county's own measures, Chestnut Tree has been a model program, moving women quickly back from shelter back into housing stability. The program has demonstrated strong outcomes, strong partnerships, and a clear return on public investment. We hear often, appropriately, that the importance of accountability for service providers is paramount. So this decision raises difficult questions about what accountability means when providers exceed expectations, deliver measurable outcomes, and still see their programs selected for contraction. We urge the Commission and county leadership to continue exploring every possible scenario in these final days of budget development to preserve this model program. I also want to express support for amendments that would restore HSD funding for employment programming. You've heard directly from our staff, participants, and partners in past hearings about the success of these efforts. Employment programming is not separate from homeless prevention and housing stability. It's central to it, and central to the county's renewed focus on equitable economic development. These programs, not funded elsewhere in the workforce development system, reduce the long-term need for rental assistance and help more people to afford their rents. We hope the final budget reflects the value of these proven investments in both housing stability and economic opportunity. Thank you tonight for your time and consideration.
Aaron Sewell, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Thank you, Board of Commissioners, for your time and attention. My name is Erin Sewell, and I'm the LifeWorks Northwest Director of Child, Youth, Family, and Prevention Services. And I'm here tonight to ask you to reinstate funding for the LifeWorks Northwest REAL program. You've heard about this program a couple of times already today. For $164,000, the REAL program offers community-based, culturally responsive mental health and substance abuse treatment to Black and Brown youth and their families living in Multnomah County. This is a cost of about $3,500 or less per youth who participate in the program. We all know the costs of delaying early care and treatment. The treatment that the youth in the REAL program receive prevents significantly more costly.
Aaron, it looks like we lost your connection. We can move on to Amber Koski, and if Aaron rejoins.
I'm back. Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Nothing.
You're back. I paused your time. You can keep going. Oh, you're gone again. Okay, Amber, let's have you go.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Amber Koski, and I'm a Multnomah County Animal Services volunteer. I'm here to request the full funding of all 3 of our enrichment staff roles. For your information, MCAS currently runs 2 dog walking shifts daily, one at 10:30 and one at 4:30, for 3 hours each to cover 40 kennels. On good days, there are 3 walkers per shift. Those are volunteers. Only recently was a 4th slot added, but volunteer coverage is never guaranteed. People are frequently unavailable. I urge you to consider that volunteer labor cannot be treated as a reliable baseline when evaluating budget. Funding enrichment ensures that these dogs receive consistent care and interaction every single day. Research shows that even short breaks from the shelter can be life-saving. Yet, over the last 3 months, the Dog Day Out program has been under review. Experienced volunteers have repeatedly inquired about this. These outings provide behavioral observations, photos, and videos that help the dogs gain visibility and improve adoption matching. Leadership should be utilizing every available tool to help dogs find the right homes. Organizations like Oregon Humane and Oregon Dog Rescue successfully run similar programs, so why can't we? MCAS sees frequent returns due to inadequate adoption counseling and matching. Every return increases a dog's risk of euthanasia, not for behavior, but because of inadequate resources and space. Funding enrichment improves behavioral support, and stronger adoption counseling will reduce returns and improve long-term outcomes. A recently adopted dog was injured within 24 hours of being adopted and required emergency vet care that the adopters could not afford. They contacted MCAS for medical care support, and MCAS responded that they could not help since the dog was injured post-adoption. MCAS has over $700,000 in Dolly's Fund, which is a donation account specifically for the medical needs of dogs and their cares and for community pet owners that need financial assistance. Why is this not being used? Lastly, cuts to enrichment should not be on the table. We should be investing in enrichment programs, trainers, and developing infrastructure that give these animals the best possible chance at finding permanent homes. Thank you for your time.
Okay, we're gonna have Erin try one more time with her camera off. Erin, go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for your patience. We all know the costs of delaying early care and treatment. The treatment that the youth in the REAL program receive prevents significantly more costly services such as hospitalization, residential treatment, and adult incarceration. The loss of that resource will cause irreparable harm to the community. Youth in our program have found jobs, graduated from high school, gone to college, stayed clean and sober, and avoided adult incarceration. If the REAL program is cut, there's nothing in the community that can take its place. With an extremely small budget, the program changes lives for some of our most vulnerable youth and saves the county thousands of dollars in more costly services. I urge you to add the REAL program back to the county budget. Thank you.
Okay. Our next group is going to be Jennifer Zavon, Dan Hoover, Jonathan Polonsky, Michelle Milla, and then after them is going to be Adam Bird, Brandy Tuck, Izadin, and Vicky Payne.
And Tasia, did we ever have Claudia come back?
I'm trying to, her mic is broken, so I'm trying to get her on the phone. We're trying to work it out.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate
it. Jennifer, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Jennifer Zavon, and I'm a program manager at Fourth, which is a national nonprofit founded in Portland in 2011 that works to electrify transportation by bringing people together to create solutions that reduce pollution and barriers to access. Fourth members include over 100 organizations, including utilities, component suppliers, charging firms, automakers, consulting firms, community-based organizations, associations, and nonprofit organizations, municipalities, state agencies, and rideshare companies. I'm testifying to encourage the county to support affordable electric vehicle car share programs at affordable housing sites in Portland, such as the Go Forth car share operated by Fourth. Reliable access to affordable transportation has an immediate and profound impact on quality of life. Car share, a system that allows community members to access a car for an hourly rental fee, is a key solution that can fill in gaps where folks may not have access to their own car and public transit might not meet their needs for every trip. Fourth manages affordable car share programs with all electric vehicles across 8 states, providing transportation access to hundreds of people with clean cars that save money on fuel and don't pollute the air when they're driven. Fourth's car share programs, including Go Forth in Portland, have prevented an estimated over 140 metric tons of CO2 emissions. And we see firsthand how car share improves lives by providing the independence of driving a car without the financial burden of car ownership, whether it's helping a disabled car share member get to the doctor stress-free, empowering someone to make their SNAP benefits go further or go to work and buy groceries when their own car breaks down, or giving a single parent the means to take their child to school and extracurriculars without having to worry about public transit schedules. As one car share member said, car share turns knowing how to drive into actually being able to live your life on your schedule with dignity, flexibility, and control. Programs like Go Forth Car Share need financial support to keep the benefits of shared transportation and of electric vehicles accessible to the communities that need them most. Please support this impactful service for Multnomah County residents. Thank you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Next, we have Dan Hoover. Dan, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. My name is Daniel Hoover. I'm an addiction medicine physician at OHSU in Portland. I direct OHSU's statewide technical assistance program supporting Oregon jails to deliver medicines for addiction treatment, also known as MOUD, MAT, or MAT medications. I recognize the many competing priorities for funding and appreciate the difficult decisions you have to make. Today, I'm highlighting to you the substantial public health benefit and community impact of the Multnomah County Jail Transition Services Program, the TSP program. I have witnessed the TSP team work tirelessly to deliver high-quality medication treatment, MAT services, and release coordination at the jail. I appreciate that the latest budget proposal includes a partial restoration of TSP funds. I encourage the board to go further to restore ideally 4 staff positions, at minimum at least 2 additional staff, specifically the Aid and Assist Mental Health Court Transition Planner and 1 General Population Transition Planner. These positions are crucial to provide release coordination of services alongside the life-saving medication treatments provided by Corrections Health. Medication treatment results in substantial reductions in post-release overdoses and even in recidivism. However, jails understaffed for release coordination are unlikely to see much benefit from medication alone, since in the release chaos, patients will lose access to their medication, not stay in treatment, and will then be at high risk for overdose. I hope my remarks are helpful in reinforcing the value of the jail's TSP program. Thank you for your time and your service to our community.
Next, we have Dan. Oh, no, that was you. Next, we have Jonathan Polonsky. You can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jonathan Polonsky. I serve as President and CEO for Plaid Pantry. We own 107 convenience stores, 59 of which are in Multnomah County. I'm here to urge you to sustain funding for the Retail Theft Task Force as you finalize your budgets. Retail theft in the Portland metro area is not at a level businesses can absorb. It remains persistent, organized, and increasingly dangerous for frontline employees. At Plaid Pantry, we lost over $150,000 last year from individuals going behind the counter to steal tobacco products. These are not minor incidents. They are deliberate, brazen acts that put employees in direct physical and psychological danger. And the impact extends well beyond individual stores. When theft becomes routine, operation costs rise, and along with it, prices. Stores reduce hours or close. Jobs are lost. Communities lose access to essential goods, and public confidence in safety erodes. The Retail Task Force is one of the few efforts producing measurable results. Through coordinated enforcement, it is disrupting repeat offenders and organized theft. Last year, the task force was responsible for arresting 3 individuals, plus many more, but these 3 individuals made up over $50,000 of the $150,000 we lost. That level of concentration highlights both the scale of the problem and the effectiveness of a targeted response. This progress reflects the work of dedicated professionals who are delivering real accountability. It's working. Now is not the time to pull back. I urge you to maintain funding for the Retail Task Force. The cost of inaction will not just affect retailers, but the communities we serve. I appreciate your time and attention to this matter. Thank you.
Next is Michelle Mila. Michelle, you can unmute yourself and begin. Michelle, are you able to oh, there you go.
Is it working now? Thank you. Hi, good evening, Commissioners. My name is Michelle Milla. I'm a parent and co-founder of Stadium Hood Neighbors. It's a subcommittee of the Northwest District Association, and I'm a board member of the Northwest Neighborhood Cultural Center. I'm here to ask this board to protect funding for the District Attorney's Office, increase jail bed capacity and mental health TSP program, and protect that in the county budget. The DA's office and jail capacity are part of the basic infrastructure that connects a complaint to a consequence, what's reported to what gets resolved. And when that's weakened, every other system that depends on that accountability begins to lose its credibility. In the Stadium District, we have watched a record number of businesses close. We've watched families disengage and move out, and residents question whether reporting crime or disorder still leads to meaningful response. Over time, that accountability gap becomes something that the neighborhoods, the people that are left, have to absorb. A city only functions when people believe its civic systems still function. And this budget is an opportunity to affirm that accountability and to affirm the foundational aspects to to livable neighborhoods and for public trust as well. Thank you for your consideration.
Our next group is going to be Adam Bird, Brandy Tuck, Isadin, and Vicky Payne. And after them is going to be John Miller, Nicole Vuselcek, Shile Reuter, and Stephen Crawford. Adam, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening. My name is Adam Bird, a Fairview resident, licensed mental health counselor, speaking in my personal capacity tonight about the proposed elimination of the MCSO Hope Team. The Hope Team serves Fairview, Troutdale, Wood Village, and the corridor's MCSO patrols. Portland has dozens of organizations that can partially absorb this loss. We almost have nothing comparable. This problem doesn't disappear when the team is gone. It shifts eastwards onto communities with the fewest resources to carry it. I'm not forecasting this. I am living it with a client right now. She is losing her home. Her support systems are collapsing. What she receives from systems meant to help are empty promises and be strong prayers. You cannot get rid of hunger pains on promises and prayers. I cannot progress on her trauma until she has shelter beneath her. Commissioner Moore has previously protected direct services by finding savings in internal operations. I'm asking her to apply that same approach here. Chair Vega Peterson has committed to prioritizing direct services above all else. The Hope Team is the definition of that. At least one commissioner has noted she isn't seeing corresponding cuts at the top to match cuts at the front line. This team is the clearest example of that imbalance. And Commissioner Jones-Dixon has pledged vigilance for the safety of East County residents. Tonight, we are asking him to honor that pledge. My ask is direct. Reduce the proposed budget constraints on the Sheriff's Office and designate funds specifically for the Hope Team's continuation. If that isn't possible, find the cuts in administrative overhead. We need a floor if we wish to have a house that stands. The Hope Team is that floor. We urge you to get this one right. Thank you for your time.
Brandy Tuck, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Hello, and thank you, Chair Vega Peterson and all of the Multnomah County Commissioners. I am Brandy Tuck. I live in District 2 and I work in District 4 as the Executive Director of Path Home. We are a nonprofit that empowers homeless families with children to get back into housing and stay there. The homeless family system at the Homeless Services Department receives less than 10% of the overall department budget, despite data that shows 3,500 school kids experience homelessness in Multnomah County every year, not counting their parents or little siblings who aren't in school. I would argue that kids are the most vulnerable population in our community and that they deserve more than 10% of the total department's resources. Fortunately, our family system is not facing any major cuts in the chair's proposed budget, thank you, though we are losing the emergency motel voucher sheltering program from our system this year. I urge you to continue to preserve every dollar for families with children in the current year's budget and to expand the amount of funding that this vulnerable population receives by dedicating more money to homeless prevention and housing placement support for families with children. Housing First does work, but if and only if housing placement is paired with deep rent assistance and long-term wraparound services, things like mental health care, domestic violence support, addiction recovery, employment training, and childcare. I urge you to support the budget amendments to expand the apprentice training and low barrier employment programs. I also urge you to restore funding to the Multnomah Stabilization Initiative, or MSI, which is an anti-poverty program with wraparound support systems to keep people housed. These are the kinds of wraparound services that our community needs to end homelessness for good, not more shelter. Thank you.
Next up is Isidin. You can unmute yourself and begin.
Hi, can you hear me? Sorry. Hello?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Hi. Can I start?
Yes.
Dear Multnomah County Chair and Commissioners, my name is Isidine Moomin. I am a former client of Real Program at LifeWorks Northwest. I can say from lived experience that this program changed and truly saved my life. I completed the REAL program about a year ago. Before REAL, I was struggling. Though this program, through this program, I found the strength to become sober and support to begin healing from deep trauma and the guidance to successfully complete my probation. REAL didn't just help me get through a difficult time, it helped me rebuild my life. Because of this program, I graduated high school, and today I'm in college working towards becoming a medical assistant. I have seen the transformation in others. I know friends and families have also received substance use and mental health services through REAL. I have watched them find hope, stability, and a path forward. Eliminating funding for REAL program would take away a lifeline for people who are struggling and searching for a second chance. Programs like this don't just provide services, they give people hope, dignity, and opportunity to become who they are meant to be. I am where I am today because someone invested in this program and into me. I respectfully and urgently ask the county to continue funding the REAL program so that others can have the same chance I was given, a chance to heal, to grow, and to build a better future. Thank you.
Next, we have Vicky Payne. Vicky, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Hi, my name is Vicky Payne. I'm here today to support amendments that restore funding, a little bit of funding, to both the district attorney's office and the sheriff's office. I also support the workforce development funding restorations, more so leaning towards programs like Cultivate Initiatives and the apprenticeship programs, because we all know trades careers offer more living wage career paths. I want to express my extreme disappointment in the closure of so many county shelter beds. To hear this is happening in lieu of permanent housing support is disheartening, especially when we have open affordable units and providers are stating there's not enough eligible people to place into them. We need the county to fundamentally reevaluate its housing intake system. By prioritizing the hardest to help individuals, we're bottlenecking the entire system. Furthermore, placing unstable residents in the permissive housing situation is leading to poor outcomes, such as the drug activity and bad actors we are seeing at Home Forward buildings, which severely hurts their other low-income neighbors. I live between two of these buildings, and all of these buildings are the same, where only a handful of people are harming everybody else that are trying to recover in these buildings and get back on their feet. And the same is true for our shelters. While I'm pleased to hear you're transitioning some of our shelters to high barrier models, I'm troubled by reports of residents staying in county villages for 1 to 3 years. I urge you to enforce the roughly 90-day stay limit like the mayor's new city rule to encourage residents to move upwards and onwards. Long stays, again, bottleneck the system and contribute to the growing number of people living on our streets. Finally, I strongly support the amendment to hire an economic development manager. We need more good paying jobs in our community so that fewer people require eviction prevention services in the first place. Thank you.
I'm going to try and see if Claudia can unmute again. Let's see. Claudia, can you try one more time?
And do we have an interpreter ready to go, Tasia?
Yes, is there an interpreter ready for Spanish? I think
Yes, the interpreter is ready.
I think she can hear, but she can't. I don't know that the unmute option is working.
Tasia, let me try as well.
Okay. I'm gonna have Emily see if she can figure out how to get it to unmute, and we'll call up the next 4. It's gonna be John Miller, Nicole Buelsek, Shile Reuter, and Stephen Crawford. John you can unmute yourself and begin.
There we go. Thank you, Chair Vega Peterson and commissioners. My name is John Miller. I'm Executive Director at the Fair Housing Council of Oregon. FHCO respectfully requests that the county restore and continue annual funding to maintain fair housing services for East Multnomah County residents. Without this funding, residents facing housing discrimination will have no local resources to turn to for information or advocacy to protect their rights, and housing providers will have no source of accountability if they are found to be discriminating through testing or investigation activities. Cutting these funds goes directly against the county's statement that the proposed budget was prepared with a commitment to equity and eliminating disparities. FHCO is a statewide civil rights organization that works to address housing discrimination and expand equal access to housing opportunity. Historically, we've served the entire state with education and outreach activities and by enforcing fair housing law. Unfortunately, last year, we lost all direct HUD funding. Current county funding has allowed us to continue serving Multnomah County residents despite that loss. If county funding ends, FHCO will have no funding at all to serve East County residents. With county support over the last 3 years, we've conducted 40 trainings for tenants, consumers, and housing providers. We've screened more than 150 complaints and provided direct assistance to 56 residents and completed 150 fair housing tests to identify patterns of discrimination. Without continued funding, East Multnomah County residents facing discrimination will lose a critical resource. A voucher holder denied housing because of source of income, an individual who is denied housing due to their race, or a family rejected because they have children will have no place to call. Landlords will lose access to training that help prevent violations before they happen. At a time when housing instability and homelessness remain critical challenges, eliminating this funding removes both a safety net for residents and a practical compliance resource for providers. Please restore this funding to the current annual level of $128,000. Thank you very much.
Nicole, you can unmute yourself and begin. Nicole. Oh, there you are. I see you. The
Hello.
unmute button. Oh, there you go.
Thank you. Hello, Chair Vega Peterson and commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Nicole Volushek, and for 4 years, I have worked as a housing attorney for Metropolitan Public Defender Community Law Division. I am grateful to Commissioner Singleton for proposing an amendment to fund our eviction prevention program, offer number 25131C. I encourage other commissioners to also support this important amendment, and this is why. Currently, only 15% of tenants have legal representation. A high percentage of people who receive help to avoid eviction stay housed. Targeted rent assistance and other eviction prevention services are among the most cost-effective ways to reduce homelessness. I have assisted over 1,122 households while working at MPD. In the last year, 138 of my clients have maintained housing or had their cases dismissed. Much of my work has consisted of helping clients receive rental assistance. I also represent clients on a variety of other legal issues. I recently represented a disabled and elderly man being evicted from the RV that he has owned for over 15 years. The landlord was unhappy where this client had put up a fence. After negotiations, the landlord agreed to waive $1,200 illegal charges for damages, late fees, and attorney fees. We also settled the issues related to the fence, and the landlord agreed to perform and pay for repairs that they had caused in my client's RV. Without our eviction prevention program, this disabled client would likely be homeless and would have lost his RV for violations that were inaccurate and could be remedied. Thank you for the opportunity to have assisted this client and many others like him. I encourage you to renew our funding at the same level as last year so we can continue to provide these much needed legal services. Thank you for your time.
Shile, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, County Commissioners. My name is Shail Reuter. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm the Education Outreach Director at the Fair Housing Council of Oregon. Our mission is to end housing discrimination and ensure equal access to housing choice. And how we do this work is through education and enforcement of fair housing law. In 1990, more than 75% of Black Portlanders lived in North and Northeast Portland. And today it's below 25%. Some of the work that we do is to study these historical patterns of housing discrimination, segregation, and displacement. So over the past 25 years, there's been a massive influx of white, mostly younger people moving into North and Northeast Portland, contributing to this displacement. In that 1990 census, the Black population of Albina was almost 24,000, but by 2020, it declined to less than 12,000. Many of those who have been displaced into East County. So Multnomah County's history is that first Black Portlanders are told that they have to move to a redlined Albina. They built a community there, and then that community was damaged by repeated dislocations from urban renewal projects. Many have been forced out by involuntary displacement. Community is being reestablished in East County, but with cutting Fair Housing Council of Oregon's funding by removing the civil rights support, education, and enforcement of fair housing law that our organization provides to East County. The county is again leaving this community vulnerable to further displacement. Our request is that Multnomah County continue to fund Fair Housing Council of Oregon's work in Multnomah County to ensure that Multnomah County is interrupting these continued patterns of housing discrimination and displacement. Thank you for your time.
Stephen, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Peterson, County Commissioners. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our testimony as you face difficult budget decisions. My name is Stephen Crawford, and I use he, him pronouns. And I'm the Legal Director at Fair Housing Council of Oregon. FHCO is a current recipient of Multnomah County funding, but the budget proposal for the next fiscal year does not include us. My role at FHCO is to oversee and provide support for our enforcement operations. In East Multnomah County, those operations include rental audit testing, complaint investigation, direct advocacy for housing consumers, and resource referrals for housing consumers. East Multnomah County is one of the most racially and ethnically diverse areas of the state. Considering this, FHCO still sees significant disparities in the area based chiefly on disability, source of income, race, and familial status. If we lose these funds, we will not be able to assist these people in East Multnomah County any longer. There remains plenty of work to be done in East Multnomah County. Civil rights don't just happen. There has to be an enforcement mechanism if civil rights laws protecting housing consumers are going to have any effect. FHCO is the community-oriented first line of contact for housing consumers experiencing discrimination, and we investigate allegations of discrimination, assist families directly when we can, and we make appropriate referrals to attorneys and government agencies when needed. In the past 3 years, we've received over 140 complaints of housing discrimination from East Multnomah County, provided direct assistance and referrals to at least 50 of those families, and we've assisted numerous families in Multnomah County with preserving their housing, ensuring that their disability-related needs are met, and with challenging application denials. I can't stress enough, there's no secondary funding for us to work in East Multnomah County, despite a significant need. Without this funding, assistance to Multnomah County families experiencing discrimination will fall to the already overburdened civil legal aid providers in our area. We work well with these organizations and hold them in high esteem, but their focus on housing stability means that many discrimination issues will go unaddressed. Continuing funding for FHCO will ensure that we remain a valued partner in protecting housing consumers from discrimination in Multnomah County. Thanks for taking the time.
Claudia, are you there?
Sí.
Oh, fantastic. Victor, are you
Pues-
ready to interpret?
Yes, I am ready. Claudia, prosiga.
Ok, buenas tardes, comisionados. Muchas gracias por escucharnos.
Victor, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Claudia, prosiga.
Buenas tardes, comisionados. Muchas gracias por escucharnos y disculpen las molestias de que no podía escuchar. No me podían escuchar.
Okay. Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you very much for listening, and apologies for the issues where you couldn't hear me before.
Mi nombre es Claudia Carrillo y quiero agradecer especialmente a la comisionada Megan Moyer por presentar una enmienda para restaurar el programa de SAN después de escuela.
My name is Claudia Carrillo, and I would like to thank especially Commissioner Megan Moyer for presenting an amendment to restore the program for after-school programs.
Estamos profundamente agradecidos por el apoyo y el compromiso por nuestra comunidad.
We are profusely grateful for the support and commitment towards our community.
Yo represento el distrito escolar de Park Road y actualmente trabajo como navegadora de recursos.
Disculpe, ¿el distrito de cuál?
Park Road.
I represent the Power Road district, and actually I work as a navigator for resources.
Además, he servido este distrito durante 22 años como voluntaria.
On top of that, I have served in this district for over 22 years as a volunteer.
Mi función como navegadora de recursos es un trabajo esencial que consiste en apoyar a las familias.
My role as a resource navigator is a very essential job because it consists of supporting families
Para encontrar servicios y recursos de acuerdo a sus necesidades.
in order to find services and to find services and resources based on their needs.
Hemos ayudado a familias a que enfrentan dificultades para pagar su renta o que han recibido órdenes de desalojo.
We have helped families who are dealing with difficulties about paying their rent, or they have received eviction notices
Debido a la pérdida de trabajo y la imposibilidad de cubrir los gastos de su vivienda.
due to losing their jobs, and also the impossibility of being able to pay for their housing expenses.
También hemos apoyado a familias con inseguridad alimentaria.
Also, we have supported families with food insecurity,
Conectándolas con recursos, bancos de comida, lugares donde dan cajas de comida para poner un alimento a sus mesas para sus hijos.
connecting them with resources, food banks, and places where they can get food boxes, so that way they can put food in their tables for their kids.
Además, he organizado talleres informativos para padres de familia.
On top of that, I have organized informational workshops to parents and families
con el objetivo de involucrarlos más en la educación de sus hijos.
that way we can involve them more in their kids' education.
Entre los temas que hemos tocado se encuentran alimentación saludable, autocuidado, educación financiera,
Among the topics that we have covered have been healthy nutrition, self-care, and financial education.
Time.
Tiempo.
Our next group is going to be Sean Perry, Riley Gombart, Shan Gutierrez Egg, and Melanie Deschrosher. And after them is going to be Jalil Shamson Din, Crimson Bell, Christy Hudson, and Hannah Veronina. Sean, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Dear members of the Multnomah County Commission, I'm here to express my wholehearted support for the continued funding of the Commons Law Center Tenant Eviction Defense Clinic. This resource provides critical free legal support to tenants facing non-payment eviction in Multnomah County. Its impact on our community cannot be overstated. As a member of the team providing free legal support for community members, what we do is invaluable. I've seen firsthand the impact we have. Last year, my team assisted over 1,400 household members from being displaced from their homes. Currently, we have already helped over 500 households. Many tenants, particularly those from low-income backgrounds facing evictions, are often ill-equipped, are unable to find free legal support to navigate the complexities of the legal system, and have little to no understanding of the legal process. People come into the courthouse anxious, uncertain, and afraid of losing their homes. Every day, I see people visibly relax when we talk to them about the options available to them. One client told us, "I was filled with anxiety this morning when I showed up for my hearing, and to learn I had the option of representation alleviated my worries. I left a very stressful situation feeling relieved. I appreciate the counsel and support I received today." This is what the Commons Law Center has heard from hundreds of tenants in Multnomah County following the free eviction defense legal representation we've been able to offer. Thanks to the funding from the county. Funding this program is critical to avoid the negative impact of evictions within our community, such as creating more homelessness, job loss, and disruption of education for children. Thank you very much for your time and consideration. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
Riley, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Thank you. My name is Riley Gombart. I'm an attorney with the Commons Law Center. I'm here today to speak about the cost effectiveness of our in-court tenant eviction defense clinic and why homelessness prevention must start with keeping people housed. Multnomah County has the highest eviction rate in the state. There have already been more than 12,000 eviction filings this year, and the vast majority are for non-payment of rent. Our courthouse clinic is one of the most cost-effective homelessness prevention programs operating in Portland today. It costs us about $396 to prevent an eviction. Compare that to the estimated $1,800 per month for a basic shelter bed. And that doesn't include the estimated $2,400 in hospitalization costs, often associated with the physical and mental health impacts of homelessness. Simply put, it is far less expensive to keep someone housed than it is to help them recover after losing housing. The need for this program is significant and growing. Gresham City Hall staff are now referring tenants directly to our East County clinic because they see the urgent need for accessible legal help. Today alone, our East County courthouse team served 14 tenants facing eviction. Last year, we represented more than 1,400 tenants facing eviction. This year, we've already represented more than 500. In 2024, the county invested $580,000 into this work, and despite exceeding our contract goals, the program's funding was reduced by 46% to $247,000 through county-wide budget cuts. Without continued investment, this program may not survive. But with full funding, we could fully staff both Multnomah County courthouses and offer representation to any tenant needing services at these courthouses. This program is already working efficiently, at scale, and with measurable results. Commissioners, and I ask that you work together with the City of Portland to fully fund this program and keep people housed before they enter homelessness. Thank you for your time.
Shan Gutierrez, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Hi, yes, my name is Cheyenne Gutierrez. And I'm the Senior Manager for the Economic Justice Department at Latino Network. We're a community-based organization serving the Portland metro area with energy and housing services, transportation, and workforce development programs. I'm here to talk about the county's workforce programs. As a former Home for Everyone career coach, I understand the importance and the impact the workforce development programs have in our community. During my time as a coach, I had the privilege to work with community members from all backgrounds, including immigrants and refugees. The workforce development programs guided and supported individuals to achieve their career goals. Housing stability and workforce go hand to hand. And these programs are not funded, hundreds of people and their families would lose access to system navigation support, basic resources, and achieve stability would be way more difficult, increasing the risk of houselessness, which this would cost the county much more. When I learned that the program was recommended for a really large cut of 80% reduction, it really made me think of my participants that I work with that actually achieved financial stability, that actually have been now in a long-term family stability. And I worry that more people are not going to have access to these resources. I urge the board to preserve employment services that are delivering real outcomes for Multnomah County residents, fully fund the employment programs, and invest in stability of individuals and their families. I appreciate your time and thank you so much for the work you do.
Melanie, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Hello, my name is Melanie Droscher, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Associate Director of Sun Community Schools with Latino Network. I have worked with Sun Community School, within the Sun Community School model for 14 years. Over the past 14 years, I've worked in a variety of roles, beginning as a Sun Extended instructor, and then as an AmeriCorps member with Sun at Highland Elementary School in Gresham. I then worked as a Sun Site Manager at Bridger K-8 and even started the Kellogg Sun Community School in Southeast Portland. And now I work as a supervisor with Latino Network, overseeing Sun Community Schools and PPS, as well as the Sun Hunger Relief work for Latino Network. In my time with Sun Community Schools, I have personally assisted thousands of families and households with food support through free food markets and school pantries, and I have worked to stabilize hundreds of families with rental and utilities assistance. Sun Community Schools are essential to ensure the stability of students, families, and communities in Multnomah County. And so I want to thank you for keeping the funding intact for Latino Network Sun Community Schools, as we were able to continue operating 9 Sun Community Schools and 6 hunger relief sites in Multnomah County. We're excited to continue this amazing work for the Latinx community, as well as for all of the communities that we serve. I also want to thank Commissioner Moyer for introducing an amendment to undo the cuts that would impact the other schools and partners who are critical to maintaining this network of services for 92 schools within Multnomah County. Additionally, we want to stress that if Multnomah County chooses to reduce the number of Sun Community Schools, that we cannot be back here again next year. We strongly believe that this needs to be the last cut to Sun that is even contemplated through the end of the 5-year contract that we have. Thank you so much for your time and your consistent support of the work done for the Sun Community Schools and all of the schools that we serve.
Our next group is going to be Jaleel Shamsin Din, Chrisman Bell, Christy Hudson, and Hannah Veronina. And our next group after them is going to be Abdullah, Carrie Melda, Philip Berlin, and Yakrisha Davis. Jaleel, you can unmute yourself and begin. Are you able to unmute yourself, Jaleel? Okay. Let's have Chrisman Bell go, and then we can have Jaleel try again.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. I'm Chrisman Bell, and I serve as the Director of Development here at Self Enhancement, or SEI. I'm here to urge the county to restore full funding for Sun, both Sun school sites and the Multnomah Stability Initiative, or MSI. At SEI, we see Sun as critical frontline prevention infrastructure for youth and families. The Sun system works because it's school-based, it's community-rooted, and it's relationship-driven. It connects young people and families to academic support, behavioral health resources, and trusted adults before challenges escalate into crises. When Sun sites are reduced or closed, we don't eliminate need. We just shift into more expensive systems like child welfare, behavioral health, and the youth justice system. So it's not cost savings that we see, it's really just cost deferral. We also know that Sun plays a critical role in addressing long-standing disparities in education and access, particularly for Black youth, for immigrant families, and low-income communities. So removing these sites cuts off one of the most accessible and trusted entry points for support. I also want to underscore the importance of MSI as a crucial component of the Sun system. MSI is not a short-term program. It's a stability strategy, and it enhances economic mobility. It helps our families maintain housing, and it builds economic footing at the same time. And without the support, we see higher risks of eviction, school disruption, and long-term instability. From a purely fiscal perspective, preventing housing displacement and academic disruption is far less expensive than responding to it later, which I'm sure you all know. And finally, I just want to name trust. We're in year one of what's intended to be a 5-year SUN investment. So for community-based organizations like ours and the families that we serve, that commitment really matters. Walking it back now risks losing trust. So on behalf of SEI and the 17,000 community members we serve, our ask is to restore funding for SUN school sites and MSI. Thank you for your time and your commitment.
Christy, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, County Commissioners. My name is Christy Hudson. I live in District 2. I'm a parent of 2 students at Beach Elementary, and I currently serve as Advocacy Chair for the Beach Community Union. That's our school's PTA. Tonight, I want to share my enthusiastic support for Commissioner Moyer's -1 amendment that restores $1.2 million in funding for the SUN Community School Program. In addition to lifting up the stories you've already heard about the SUN program tonight and last week, I also want to share my concerns about your process for identifying the 9 sites for closure. As cited by the Oregonian, demographic and poverty data were used to identify the schools proposed for closure, but multiple requests to see the data you've used to make these decisions have been ignored. Well, I appreciate that staff of Chair Vega Peterson offered some time this afternoon to concerned parents. None of our data questions were adequately addressed. This lack of transparency erodes trust in your ability to make equity-based, data-driven decisions and your stated commitment to public participation in county budget processes. In the absence of your justification, I've tried to come to my own understanding, using the indicator of Title I eligibility as just one example of community need. However, 6 of the 9 schools with proposed cuts to the SUN program are eligible for Title I funding in the next school year. 5 of the 9 schools have populations where 50% or more of the student population is from an historically underserved community. Your proposed cuts also seem to ignore the forthcoming plans of PPS to consolidate schools. Some of your budget woes might be just naturally resolved in the 27 to 28 school year. Finally, I want to address the very real economic burden closure of the SUN program will have on families. Upon hearing about these potential cuts, our SUN program engaged student participants in advocacy. And one of the primary concerns students raised in the letters they've written to you was the impact it would have on their parents' employment. A June 4th decision would give families just 3 months to come up with a new after-school care plan, creating real stress for families without other social or financial resources for care. As an example, while the YMCA runs an after-school program at Beach, the cost of this program for one child is $600 per month, an expense that is frankly out of reach for most parents. Thank you for your time and your service to the county.
Jalil, can you unmute yourself and begin?
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. My name is Jalil Shamsuddin. I'm the Compliance Program Manager at Self-Enhancement Incorporated. I'm providing testimony tonight about SUN funding. We're near the end of the first year in a 5-year contract with the county. This contract for us reflects not only an agreement between the county and the community partners like SEI, but also an implied agreement between the county and the community itself. Failure to uphold this agreement erodes the relationship between the county and the community it serves, and it destabilizes SUN schools and communities by defunding essential services that are intended to mitigate very real disparities that exist for many of our students and families. Some of the many benefits provided through the SUN service system include allowing children from marginalized communities to close the 6,000-hour out-of-school learning gap between them and more fluent peers, enhancing academic success, attendance, and behavioral health supports for students and families, leveraging strong partnerships with culturally specific community-based organizations, which allows SUN sites to effectively serve communities of color, and providing stable pipelines for youth engagement and workforce continuity between through SUN school sites and the Multnomah Stability Initiative. Eliminating funding for the SUN system disproportionately impacts the vulnerable students and communities the county has committed to prioritizing. However, the county has an opportunity to reaffirm its commitment and shared interest in the success of its most vulnerable students and families by fully restoring Sun System funding. I encourage the county to take this urgent and necessary action. Thank you for your time.
Hannah, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Hannah Voronina, and I'm a housing stability specialist with Immigrant Refugee Community Organization, IRCO, in program MSI Region 3. And every day I work with families in Region 3 who are going through some of the hardest moments of their lives. I'm here today because I want you to understand that this funding is not just numbers on paper. These programs save families from homelessness. They give people safety, stability, and hope. I work with one family where the father was detained by ICE for more than 2 months. During that time, the mother was left alone with 3 young children. She was terrified. She did not know what to do, how to pay rent, how to buy food, and keep children safe. Because of Region 3 funding, we were able to help these families stay in their home during one of the most traumatic time in their life, and without this support they could have become homeless. I also work with single mothers who are trying to raise 4 children alone, and she works hard living paycheck to paycheck. I work with parents who are learning English, searching for jobs, and trying to build a better future for their children. Sometimes the support we provide may seem small, like help with rent, utilities, food, school supplies, or case management, but for many families, this support is the difference between stability and crisis. It is the difference between staying house or sleeping outside. I have personally seen children become more stable in school because their family did not lose housing. Many of my clients don't speak English yet, and many are too afraid or uncomfortable to speak publicly. So today I feel that I'm speaking not only for myself, but also for the many families whose voices may never be heard here online, or their services are deeply needed in our community, and the need is still growing. Please continue funding Region 3 program in Multnomah County so we can continue protecting a lot of families. Thank you so much for your time.
Our next group is going to be Abdullah, Carrie Melda, Philip Berlin, and Yukrisha Davis. And the group after them is going to be Deborah Carabajal, Andrew Morrison, Rachel Essig, and David Dixon. I don't see Abdullah, so we're going to start with Carrie Melda. Carrie, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Carrie Melda, and I'm the Executive Director at NAMI Multnomah. NAMI Multnomah is an all-peer organization, which means that we all have experience living with a mental health condition or love someone who does. In the past 6 months, we've lost over $170,000 of county funding for peer services, and now we're on the chopping block for another $300,000. This primarily includes funding for our peer support specialist training and our peer and family support groups. These programs support 4,000 participants every year, with 33 support groups offered each month. Our programs are offered community-wide and to affinity groups, including the BIPOC, LGBTQ+, youth and young adult, and military communities. Peer services have taken a disproportionate cut from the Behavioral Health Division's budget. NAMI Multnomah, as an example, is taking a 40% reduction to our peer service contracts. I really wish for you to understand the chaos that is caused when money is taken away, when you take away the lifeline that people are clinging to. Peers often serve as that one confidant in someone's life, the person who's been there and gets it, who has been on the brink of suicide and come out on the other side, who's been in a crisis and made it through, who's lived on the street and found a home. It's also that peer who will take a call at midnight or on the weekends. They will share their experience. They will help a person cope. They will connect them to services. They will be that lifeline when no one else will answer the phone. In our support groups, participants discover that they are not alone. Peers create community, community where there is no stigma, communities where people can share their worst moments in life and feel supported, communities where people can share their smallest successes and feel celebrated. I don't think you'll find another place in your budget where you get as much bang for your buck. I'm asking you to support peers and support the valuable work that NAMI Multnoma's programs contribute. Thank you very much.
Philip, you can unmute yourself and begin.
All right. Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and commissioners. My name is Phil Berlin, and I serve as a housing coordinator at Self Enhancement. This year, both my niece and nephew started in new schools in Multnomah County, one in high school and one in elementary. And as they navigated these new environments and they were trying to figure out where they belonged and who they can trust, the SUN programs at Jefferson High School and James John Elementary didn't just give them activities, they helped them find community. They built friendships, they connected with trusted adults, and found places where they felt supported and seen. That's what SUN programs provide. There are more than just programs. There are trusted hubs where students and families can access support before challenges become crises. SUN schools help close opportunity gaps and support academic success. These school-based services reduce barriers like transportation. They help families navigate complex systems by meeting them right where they are. But we must be clear about what happens if we lose these programs. Eliminating SUN sites increases strain on child welfare, behavioral health, and youth justice systems. When prevention goes away, the need doesn't disappear. It shows up later in more costly and severe ways. Some school closures will disproportionately impact African American, immigrant, and low income families, the very communities the county has committed to support. We are only in the first year of a 5-year SUN contract. That commitment wasn't just made with providers, it was made with our community. Breaking this commitment now to severely reduce SUN school and MSI programs would further erode trust in our local government at a time when many stabilizing supports are also going away. I urge you to fully restore funding to the entire SUN system, both school sites and MSI. These are not just programs, they're stabilizing forces to the lives of our young people and their families. Thank you very much for your time.
Lucretia Davis, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good afternoon, Chair Peterson and Monoma County Commissioners. My name is Wakershia Davis, and I am a mental health consultant with the Monoma County's Gun Violence Impacted Families Behavioral Health Response Program under the Direct Clinical Service Division. Our program was intentionally created to provide culturally specific mental health services to individuals 10 to 25 years of age who have been both directly and or indirectly impacted by gun violence within Monoma County. We are not just another behavioral health program. We are a response to a crisis that continues to devastate families across Monoma County. Every day, we work with individuals, youth, and families navigating trauma, grief, fear, and depression, and anxiety, and the long-lasting emotional impacts that follow community violence. Many of the families and individuals we serve have historically faced barriers to accessing mental health care due to stigma, mistrust, language barriers, and lack of culturally responsive services. Our team was built specifically to bridge that gap. Currently, our program consists of 5 positions: a supervisor, therapist serving the African American community, the African American refuge community, and the Hispanic and Latino community, along with the program specialists. Yet, under the proposed budget, only 3 positions would remain. That reduction would significantly limit our ability to provide equity and effective care to communities that need us the most. Gun violence does not end after the incident. The trauma continues in homes, schools, and neighborhoods long after the headlines fade. When culturally specific behavioral health services are removed, communities are left without trusted providers who understand their lived experience and cultural realities. This program is prevention, this program is intervention, and this program is healing. I ask you today to fully fund and preserve all 5 positions within this program. Investing in culturally responsive mental health services is investing in safer, healthier, and more resilient communities. Thank you.
Our next group is going to be Deborah Carabajal, Andrew Morrison, Rachel Essig, and David Dixon. And after that will be Janet Liu, Marco Matthias, Sandy Miller, and Shahan McKelvey. Deborah, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Deborah Carvajal, and I'm a career coach with ARJA's Future Economic Opportunity Program at the Home for Everyone. Every day, I work with individuals who are trying to rebuild their lives. Many of the people we serve are facing barriers such as homelessness, justice involvement, unemployment, lack of transportation, mental health struggles, or recovery from addiction every day. Often they're not just looking for a job, they're looking for stability, support, and someone who believes in them. What makes this program so important is that we meet people where they are. We help participants with employment, but we also help connect them with housing resources, education, work clothing, transportation, life skills, and ongoing support. Sometimes the biggest things we can offer is consistencies and encourage during the difficult time in someone's life. As a career coach, I have personally witnessed people come into the program feeling hopeless and overwhelmed, and later gain employment, secure stability, housing, reconnect with family, and beginning building confidence in themselves again. Those successes do not happen overnight, and they do not happen without support. This program is not simply about getting someone a paycheck. It's about creating opportunities and long-term stability and helping people become successful and productive members in our community. Without continuing funding, many individuals will lose access to critical support systems that would help them stay employed and continue moving forward. Cutting funding will mean fewer opportunities for people who are genuinely trying to change their lives. I ask you to continue investing in programs like the Home for Everyone because the impact is real and the need is real, and the lives being changed changes are real. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Andrew Morrison, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Thank you. My name is Andrew Morrison, legislative nominee in House District 48, spanning over half my district is Multnomah County, and I am emphatically opposed to making any cuts to public safety. Public safety is paramount to maintaining even a minimal quality of life for communities. Unfortunately, this board of leaders doesn't seem to share the same desire for fiscal responsibility as the people. Speaking specifically to Multnomah County, your budget has increased 94%, nearly doubling the budget in just 6 short years. The public safety funding has unfortunately not shown parallel increase, rather the opposite, providing either cuts or shortfalls to the measure of $23 million. Our most vulnerable citizens and general population count on public safety and judicial capability as one of the most foundational core services, and to ignore this basic need is nothing short of negligent. To make these proposed deep cuts while at the same time demanding an increase in $0.3 billion taxes should cause our citizens to reverse a stance or to ask for a reversal of stance for the county board and chair. To quote Oregon Progressive Governor Tom McCall, unlimited and unregulated growth leads inexorably to a lowered quality of life. Thank you.
Rachel Essig, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Chair Vega Peterson, Commissioners Brim Edwards, Jones Dixon, Moyer, and Singleton. Thank you for your time and consideration this evening. I know these are dire times, not only in our county, our region, but nationally. I'm Rachel Essig, the Executive Director of Impact Northwest. Thank you, Commissioner Moyer, for introducing your budget amendment for SUN. I'm here to express my deep concern about the proposed budget cuts to the Multnomah Stabilization Initiative and SUN Community Schools. These reductions will have a severe and immediate consequences to our communities that we collectively serve. It's difficult to understand the rationale behind the cuts, as they do not benefit the communities you represent. In fact, they will cause significant harm. For many families, particularly those engaged in preschool for all, Sun Community Schools provide critical continuity of care and stability. Eliminating these services means that once children transition into public school, that support system disappears. Families will once again be forced to make impossible decisions between essentials as rent and childcare. For over 60 years, Impact Northwest has been a trusted community partner with a strong track record delivering results, serving over 5,000 youth annually, with 96% showing positive progress in school and attendance. We support more than 15,000 households each year with recovery services, healthcare, utility assistance, and housing support, with nearly 72% achieving stable housing within 6 months. The proposed budget cuts would have the following impacts. MSI and Sun Community Schools are essential programs, particularly in Region 1, the largest in Multnomah County. They provide critical stability for families, support employment for parents and caregivers, and enable children to succeed academically and socially. I urge you to reconsider the proposed cuts and preserve funding for these vital services. And thank you for your time this evening.
David Dixon, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, all. My name is David Dixon, and I've been actively engaged as a volunteer in addressing the issue of unsheltered homelessness for the last 7 years. 3 years delivering survival items and friendship to my unsheltered downtown neighbors, and the last 2 years as convener of the Homeless Solutions Coalition. Today, I offer 3 recommendations. They don't address specific county budget line items, but focus on the big picture of how we address homelessness, a crisis that Portlanders consistently rank as our city's greatest problem. First, please do not cut funding to address unsheltered homelessness, especially cuts which will accelerate death on our streets and worsen the quality of life of all Portlanders. Second, the county and the city must work together and design a system of outreach, intake, shelter, treatment, housing, and workforce training that is integrated and accountable to the taxpayer. Third, we are losing the race to produce housing faster than people are becoming homeless in Portland and Multnomah County. It's shocking. Our low barrier housing first approach is placing people in housing without adequate behavioral health treatment and little to no preparation and workforce training and support to live independent of government support. A roof overhead is essential, but we must shift our end goal to social reentry, societal reentry. It will not happen overnight, but if every paid worker and volunteer who serves our unsheltered neighbors would become laser focused on giving people the treatment and support to discover their sense of purpose and gain the skills necessary to successfully reenter society, we could turn unsheltered homelessness around. Thank you.
Our next group is going to be Janet Liu, Marco Matias, Sandy Miller, and Sahan McKelvey. And after them will be Janiyah Moore, Veronica Oro, Beth Cook, and Timothy Childress. Janet, you can unmute yourself and begin. Janet, are you able to unmute? Right, we can move to Marco, and I'll circle back to Janet. Marco Matthias, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Chair. My name is Marco Matias, and I'm here today as a Multnomah County community member to express my strong support for preserving funding for the Sun Community Schools. Sun Schools are far more than after-school programs. They are an essential prevention and intervention resource that provides comprehensive wraparound supports for students and families across our community. Sun Community Schools create equitable access to opportunities for many families, including our Black, Indigenous, and students of color. Through no-cost enrichment programming, students are able to participate in academic support, arts, leadership development, culturally responsive programming, sports, and other activities that contribute to both student achievement and overall well-being. In addition, Sun Community Schools play a critical role in addressing basic needs and reducing barriers that impact student success. Families depend on Sun sites for food pantries, food access, family engagement, and connections to community sources. During periods when immigrant and mixed status families in our community were experiencing heightened fear and uncertainty due to an increased ICE enforcement activity, I personally learned of a Sun site manager who delivered food boxes directly to families who were afraid to leave their homes. That level of compassion and commitment reflects the deep care and community-centered approach that defines Sun programming. Sun schools also support Portland Public Schools' broader educational goals by reinforcing literacy and math achievement, strengthening school-family partnerships, and helping create the stability students need to consistently engage in learning and arrive at school ready to succeed. Investing in Sun schools is an investment in prevention, educational equity, and long-term community stability. These programs help mitigate disparities before they become crisis and provide critical supports that strengthen outcomes for children and families alike. Reductions to Sun funding would have a significant impact on some of the county's most vulnerable students and families by limiting access to essential services, enrichment opportunities, and trusted community supports. I would also like to sincerely thank for introducing an amendment to restore the Sun Sun Community School funding. We are grateful for the support of the Commission and for the continued recognition of the importance of these services to our community. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Janet, Leo, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Yes, I'm so glad we got that problem fixed. Good evening. Thank you, commissioners, for your work. My name is Janet Liu. I live in Portland. The recognition of early Chinese Americans is very important. I am an immigrant from Taiwan of Chinese heritage. I moved here when I was 10 years old with my family. I grew up amongst white people and only learned about Chinese American experiences when I became an adult. My parents moved to America for better education opportunities for their children, and we did get that. But we also got racism, lacking visibility in media, and exclusion from being accepted as Americans. I have witnessed tremendous changes in American attitudes toward Asians in my 60+ years in America, and I worked to affect some of those changes. I worked on the 2011 congressional bill to apologize for the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act. I worked on the 2021 congressional bill to condemn anti-Asian hate crimes during COVID. These hate crimes rise from fear and ignorance of Asians by white Americans. To counter that, we have to raise the visibility of Asian Americans. Lone Fir Cemetery Memorial is one such step. To recognize the early Chinese Americans and to honor them for their struggles they underwent in a hostile country, for the contributions they made for this country, to recognize that they were human beings, each, even as the Americans only gave the numbers in their burials. Yes, they had names, they had families, they had people who loved them and thought of them as we all wish for ourselves. Let's remember them through the memorial. Thank you.
Next, we have Sandy Miller. Sandy, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Yes, thank you. I'm a resident of District 3, and I urge the board to fully fund completion of the Chinese Memorial at Lone Fir Cemetery. I think it will help to heal a shameful era in our history. Thank you.
Next, we have Sahan McKelvey. Sahan, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and commissioners. My name is Sahan McKelvey, and I'm the Director of Advocacy and Engagement at Self Enhancement, Inc. There is so much I want to say and so many things I would love to speak to you all about, but 2 minutes. So I will start by saying thank you. Thank you for being here, for listening to community, and for taking on the challenging and often thankless work of building a county budget. I know the process is long, difficult, and often overwhelming, so thank you. I also want to emphasize that you do not have to carry this work alone. My first request is to look into the future with a commitment that will allow us all to work together in this process. I urge you to partner intentionally so that we can think creatively, act proactively, and share collectively in the responsibility of shaping solutions. As Chair Vega Peterson eloquently and vulnerably stated in the State of the County last night, walking side by side is more effective than walking alone in the front. We want to walk with you, not just to be heard, but to reduce the burden and help carry the work forward. You've heard from me, our team at SCI, and numerous partners about the urgent need to fully restore funding for the SUN service system, including school sites and MSI. At the heart of this request is a simple principle. We must prioritize people over systems and residents' well-being over bureaucracy. I want to thank Commissioner Moyer for her amendment to restore funding for SUN school sites. This reflects the values that we need in this moment by placing service to marginalized students above administration as we face declining revenue. I urge you to support that amendment and to move collectively in that direction. Again, there's so much more I want to say about living wages for partner staff, housing stability for our neighbors, and workforce pathways that increase economic mobility. But most importantly, I want to be a resource and a thought partner for all of you, both now and in the future, because the challenges ahead are real, and the only way that we're going to get through them is together. Thank you.
Our next group is Janiyah Moore, Veronica Oro, Beth Cook, and Timothy Childress. Janiyah, you can unmute yourself and begin. Janiyah, are you able to unmute? Okay.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Janiyah Moore, and I am here today to urge the county to stabilize funding and contracts for culturally specific community-based providers serving Black children, youth, and families. Community-based providers cannot continue meeting county performance expectations while also absorbing inflation, wage compression, and increasing unfunded administrative burdens. These challenges are creating severe workforce instability across programs that our communities rely on every day. Workforce instability undermines every other county investment across housing, youth development, and public health systems. When frontline staff leave, trust-based relationships with Black children, youth, and families are disrupted. Those relationships are not optional. They are essential to achieving positive outcomes. Wage instability accelerates burnout and turnover, weakening program quality and continuity of care. Prevention programs rely on consistency, and frequent staffing changes directly undermine school engagement, housing stability, and long-term family outcomes. The county intentionally relies on culturally specific providers to serve populations the county has historically struggled to serve well. That work cannot continue effectively without stable staffing and sustainable contracts. I asked the county to stabilize contracts in ways that allow providers to retain consistent staff and continue serving communities with care, trust, and accountability. I'll also ask that all the commissioners on this fellow board support Commissioner Moyer's amendment to restore funding for SUN. By supporting Commissioner Moyer, you're also supporting the fellow communities that are served through this program who have also been underserved throughout the years, as SUN has also done an amazing job restoring the trust with the families within these communities. Thank you again for your time and consideration.
Next is Veronica Oro. You can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. I am Dr. Veronica Oro, a Senior Data Research and Analysis Specialist at Self Enhancement, Inc. I have over a decade of experience using data-driven methods to study child development, particularly for marginalized and underserved youth. I had the pleasure of attending my first Multnomah County budget hearing on April 29th, where I advocated for restoration of funds to the SUN Community Schools program. I left the hearing feeling inspired by testimonials from those with lived experience and listened to peers from other community-based organizations voiced the very same concerns we have at SEI regarding the proposed budget cuts. I felt a sense of belongingness in our shared fight to restore these much-needed funds. This experience reinforced my belief in the power of civic engagement and our ability as concerned citizens to affect change at macrostructural levels. I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you again tonight. In total, our SUN coordinators have touched the lives of 2,184 students this academic year alone, 70% of whom are Black and Brown youth. The proposed site closures would result in 431 of these youth, nearly 20%, no longer having access to academic supports, arts programs, STEM curricula, gardening clubs, etc. But perhaps most importantly, these youth would have one less caring and supportive adult in their lives. Research shows that having a nurturing relationship with at least one caring adult who is not necessarily a parent is one of the most potent resilience factors that supports healthy child development. These are youth who are already facing the consequences of cuts to school staffing, support services, and extracurricular programs. Their families are enduring unprecedented financial strain that has insidious effects on social, emotional, and physical health. Something has to give. I again implore you to reconsider these cuts and support Commissioner Moyer's amendment to restore funding for SUN school sites. Reaffirm your commitment to protect our most vulnerable youth and send a clear message. We will leave no child behind. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Next, we have Beth Cook. Beth, you can unmute yourself and begin.
Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Beth Cook, and I am the Chief Advocacy Officer for New Narrative. I'm a resident of District 1. I've also submitted written testimony with additional details on behalf of our CEO, Julie Ibrahim, so I will attempt to keep my comments brief. New Narrative serves more than 2,200 individuals annually across more than 40 service locations throughout the Portland region, with our teams providing mental health treatment, housing, peer support, and residential services for adults with complex behavioral health needs. We thank you for your hard work and the investments that have been included in the Chair's proposed budget. Tonight, we are respectfully requesting additional support for 3 critical behavioral health investments within the fiscal year 2027 budget. First, the Bridgeview community. Bridgeview is a 47-unit high acuity permanent supportive housing program serving adults exiting the Oregon State Hospital, inpatient psychiatric settings, residential treatment, and chronic homelessness. The Chair's proposed budget currently includes partial funding, which we deeply appreciate, but the program still faces a remaining gap that threatens long-term stability. Bridgeview fills a critical gap between independent housing and institutional care, helping prevent repeated cycling through hospitals, crisis systems, homelessness, and public safety systems. Second, we are requesting continued rental assistance for 10 participants currently enrolled in our Self-Directed Services Sustainable Housing Program, also known as SDS. While New Narrative has made the difficult decision to close SDS due to the broader funding environment, we are asking the county to preserve housing stability for these individuals who entered the 2-year program with the understanding that rental support would continue as part of their transition planning. Finally, we are requesting restoration for employment-related services funding for North Star Clubhouse, an evidence-based mental health recovery and supported employment program operating under the internationally recognized Clubhouse model. North Star helps individuals build stability, employment skills, social connection, and long-term recovery support while reducing reliance on much more expensive crisis and hospitalization systems. New Narrative has already made significant internal reductions and operational changes in response to this budget environment and continues to work aggressively to close remaining operational funding gaps while preserving critical services whenever possible. Thank you very much for your time, your leadership, and consideration.
Timothy, you can unmute yourself and begin. Timothy Childress.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm on my phone. It took a second. So, okay. So I'm all good?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you for having me, commissioners. My name is Timothy Childress, and I am speaking on behalf of myself today. Once again, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be here. I am asking you to protect funding for employment and housing programs like A Home for Everyone. Before I received their support, I struggled with homelessness, addiction, and unemployment for about 3 years. I had a hard time finding any stability whatsoever, and it wasn't until I went through Urban Alchemy that I connected to Recovery Services was eventually able to move from the tiny homes into my current apartment. Later, I connected with Central City Concern's Clean Start program, where I received job training, career support, connection to the Clear Clinic, rental assistance, and access to the Employment Access Center staff. Those services helped me focus on rebuilding my life and maintaining employment. Programs like A Home for Everyone work because they combine employment, support with housing and stability. They help people become self-sufficient, they reduce reliance on emergency services, and they strengthen communities. Please continue funding programs like this that create real, long-term change. Thank you for listening to my story and have a good evening.
That is it for public testimony.
Thank you so much, Tasia. Thank you, and Emily too, for working to ensure that these public hearings go smoothly. Everyone is heard. I want to thank our translators for helping us make sure that as many people as possible can participate in this budget process. I want to thank everyone who provided testimony tonight. Thank you so much for dedicating some time to engage with the board as we are going through this difficult process of making our final budget decisions. For those of you who submitted written testimony, be assured that my colleagues and I read each of those as we're considering our budget decisions. So this is our last public budget hearing on the budget. Our budget is going to be voted on by the board on Thursday, June 4th during our board meeting, which begins at 1 p.m. That meeting is held at the Multnomah County Building Boardroom, and it's also going to be live streamed on our YouTube channel. And so you can sign up to give testimony on that date as well. I want to thank everyone for your investment in this process and having everyone participate tonight. Thank